Okay, we are entering week 5 of the college football season, and we got an exciting matchup going down in Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's number 1 Alabama versus number 12 Ole Miss. And here to break it down for another episode of Head to Head is my buddy, Mike, the real McCoy. Hey, and we'll give a shout out to our sponsor. Keep Alabama beautiful. Let's keep this state of ours beautiful, and let's go out there and play some football.
Oh, let's go now.
Mike McCoy, I love the digs there, hanging out at Maximum Performance. Let me see the joint. I love it. The crib, I love it.
Oh man, we got it. We moving and grooving over here.
Yes.
We getting after it a
made
little
some
bit.
additions over there, and you got yourself one of those big ceiling fans. I like it. Keeping everyone cool and keeping everyone hydrated, right?
A little bit. We get after. This is really the doghouse. So, but that's for another episode.
All right, we'll see if Alabama gets after it this week. They're home in Bryant-Denny Stadium, number 1 versus number 12. So Ole Miss, here's the deal. They're coming off a bye week, but this is really the battle of the SEC unbeatens. And so there's a lot of storylines going into this one, and we'll start off the top. We got 2 quarterbacks that have a pretty darn good shot at winning the Heisman Trophy this year. And so, with that being said, I'm excited for this one. I'm excited to see how these offenses play against one another. We remember what happened last year, and we'll get into that because the defense didn't show up. Coming out of the gates, I feel like Bryce Young has continued to impress us. I feel like he continues to do his job. And yes, I know he threw his first interception against Southern Miss, and mistakes happen. And, it wasn't necessarily his fault. But I think he's been a solid quarterback. He's been consistent. But I want to talk about my man, Jameson Williams. What is up with that dude? What is up with Jameson Williams?
I think we found our new superstar. I think he has emerged as that leader of the receiving corps right there. His presence, man, the kid is electrifying playmaker. And he is a ride out right there. He got another gear in him.
He has another gear in him, and I love what he said I guess after the game when he talks about, his whole purpose is when he gets the football, I'm going to go to the crib. He says, I'm trying to go to the crib no matter what play or what catch. And I absolutely love that. Got to take it to the crib. Hey, he's a dynamic player. He's an explosive player. And I think that is going to be key in this one against this Ole Miss football team, creating those explosives, consistently creating those explosives. And we talked about it before. I think the run game also needs to be strong in this one. Alabama, has not had its best outing in the run game, as of late. And, I think Brian Robinson being injured with the ribs certainly plays into this one. Okay, so defensively speaking, from the Ole Miss side of the football, they were the worst in the SEC a season ago. And
wow.
I think that the issue is we have 3 games, 3 samplings of what this Ole Miss defense is all about, what this Ole Miss team is all about. And that comes against Louisville, it comes against Austin Peay, and it comes against Tulane. So in your opinion, Mike, and the sampling that you've seen, do you think this Ole Miss defense is better? And if so, are they better enough to contend with this Alabama offense?
Well, the good thing about it is Lane is smart. The difference between him and everybody else is he will make those halftime adjustments. He will. He's been around Coach Saban, and he knows what he's going to do. So I think any improvement based on last year, I think they'll be better. But to contend with Alabama, they're going to have – we got too many weapons. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough on both sides. If I know Lane, I feel like he will try to bracket our best receiver, take Williams out of the game, and we'll have to beat him with Blade or beat him with our tight end. So I think they'll give different looks, different drops, different schemes, different stunts. But I think they definitely have improved from last year.
And you talk about Lane Kiffin. This is the guy that's going to come in here. He doesn't have a lot of pressure on himself like that of Nick Saban. Nick Saban's streak against his assistant just continues. It's like the run-on sentence, like on and on and on. And eventually It's going to happen. Will it happen this time? I don't know. But Lane Kiffin comes in, not a lot of pressure on him. And he's the guy that comes in with wrinkles. Like, he's going to throw wrinkles into the game. He's going to shake things up. He's going to do some Lane Kiffin things. And, it showed up last year. Last year, Ole Miss gained, it was almost 650 yards on Alabama. And of course, they ended up losing that football game. But when you look at that Ole Miss team and what they did, gashing Alabama, it was one of the most aggressive performances I've seen from any team against Alabama in recent years. And the other thing is, let's put this into perspective. They had 4 fourth down attempts and they converted on all fourth down attempts. So I expect a lot of the same, a lot of aggressive play calling in this one. And I don't think Lane Kiffin is going to back down. I think he's going to throw out everything that he can to do what he can to run up the scoreboard. And certainly that poses a big threat when you've got a guy like Matt Corral under center, doing big things behind the nation's top-ranked offense. They're scoring 635 yards per game. Right now, they are tied as tops in the nation for 52 points. So all that to say, how does this Alabama defense go against this Ole Miss offense who has got some firepower, who is moving the football effectively, efficiently, and they got Matt Corral?
If you notice, we have a hard time against a mobile quarterback. That's where Alabama will struggle. And this is really your old school versus your new school. Lane has nothing to lose and everything to gain. So when you have that type of mindset, it's literally like a freshman. We're going to give you the ball. You do something great. You mess up, it's Alabama. It is what it is. But look, man, them boys they loaded and ready to go. Ole Miss was good. This is probably the scariest game next to Arkansas, but Ole Miss got it. They got all the pieces and puzzles on the offense side of the ball. So I expect it to be a chess match. Will Alabama slow the ball down? I don't know. Will he make it? Because it's like one of those things. You don't want to keep it in the guy's hand who's just going to – it's like Tom Brady effect. Hey, we can't give him a ball. We got to hold the ball, and you just got to play smart and efficient.
Smart and efficient, and the defense has got to show up. Will Anderson even mentioned after that Florida game it being a quote-unquote big eye-opener for the defense and said it needed to play the Alabama standard, and that is definitely going to be the case in this one. As the Crimson Tide welcomes Ole Miss to Bryant-Denny Stadium. Now, one thing I will say that I think Alabama has going in their favor, and I think it showed up last week against a lesser opponent in Southern Miss. Nick Saban, you said you do not take winning for granted. You do not take winning for granted, and that was something he said he wanted to see the fans show up. He does his job as a coach. On the flip side of that, he wants the fans to do their job every single week. He wants Bryant-Denny Stadium to be one of the toughest places to play. And I certainly think that will be the case as we see this game unfold at 2:30 on CBS. All right, it's going down in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Can the fans bring the noise? Nick Saban talked about it last week. He said that he wants Bryant-Denny Stadium to always be the place to play. He always wants teams to come in and feel threatened by the environment, no matter who the opponent is. Well, I anticipate this week Alabama is most certainly going to utilize that home field advantage. One of the biggest things I want to see in this matchup, and Nick Saban talked about it, penalties. You got to clean up the penalties. You got to create the explosive plays, but you've got to defend the explosive plays better. And I think that's where Ole Miss is going to have its advantage in this one, creating some of those explosive plays behind Matt Corral and company. So with that being said, I think that this is going to go down to the wire. I think that while it's a 14.5-point spread, they've got Alabama up 14.5 on this one. I see it being a one-score game, if I'm being honest with you. I don't know if it's going to be a touchdown. I don't know if it's going to be by a field goal, but I'm going to predict Alabama winning this one 42-38. This goes down to the wire, 4 quarters.
Ooh.
Better watch out, because I think Ole Miss is certainly the one that everyone has marked on their calendar right now.
Yeah, I honestly, I think Ole Miss is better than Florida, just to throw that out there. So I think it's going to be a close game. Like you said, I think it's going to be maybe a 1 point. I'd be surprised if it's a 2-touchdown game. I would really be surprised. But for me, I'm going to go 42-35.
Talking a little trash on the field? Yeah, we get it. Trashing the state with litter? That's terrible. Keep it clean. Keep Alabama beautiful.
It's guaranteed that I die legend. Yeah, son God, homie, I'm reverend. Preach, just protecting my investment. Ask about me, integrity's not a question.